Hello all, this is Sil, and this week I've been playing The Witcher 2. For anyone that doesn't know, it's a fantasy, open-ish world action RPG by CD Projekt from back in 2011. So it's a little bit old now, nearly 5 years old now, so it's getting there. And as always, I want to take a look at the progression systems. Should be 4 videos. Quick one on XP this time. Next time be a look at the gearing and gear acquisition. Then I imagine it'll be skills and one on alchemy, and you know how that progresses and stuff like that. So we will get straight into it. Obviously I've just mentioned the 4 core areas that there are: leveling up, getting gear, developing skills, and that's a big skill tree thing, and developing alchemy. Now XP is fairly traditional. If I go to the character menu here, you can see up here I'm level 23 on this save, and I've got 22,000 out of 23,000 XP to the next level. That pretty much shows the first thing. There is 1,000 XP between levels throughout the game, and that is flat. Leading up to the level cap, which sits at 35, I believe. Now, gaining a level in this game is of substantial benefit, but it's not everything. All it does is give you a little bit of extra vitality. Vitality is max health, which I'll come to later about all the stats, and it gives you a skill point that you can spend in this monstrously big skill tree thing. So there's that. Now, getting XP, obviously we know here I'm always looking for, if you're going to have an XP system, I'd like to see it reward all the different play styles. And obviously it's got to be fun, and the rate has got to be right. Now the rate is pretty good. 35 levels in about 30 hours in my recent playthrough. Fairly smooth for the most part. You get about 1 an hour. There's a couple of jumps where you get a couple of points. I think I noticed three or four times, I won't say what they are, throughout the game where a significant event happened, and I received a 2,000 to 3,000 XP boost. So I went up a couple of levels at a time, but that's actually quite nice. You get this big boost for a big achievement, and then it just feels right. It's nice to have a couple of points to spend at once every now and again. However, I would make massive changes to this, but I don't want to get too into that before we talk about the skill tree, because the skill tree is the reason I'd make these changes. Let's just talk quickly about how you get it. Fairly simple when you kill stuff and when you do stuff. It is an event-based system, not action-based, so after something has been killed, you'll receive a small bonus, and after you've completed a side quest or a main quest, you'll receive bonuses. Now, in terms of quantities, it's quite interesting. Let's have a look. Is there going to be anything to kill here? No, there's not, because everything's already been killed. But yeah, in terms of quantities, killing things doesn't give an awful lot of XP. It does rack up over time, but I mean, considering it's 1,000 XP a level, enemies are quite scarce. This is probably one of the most dense areas of the games for enemy normally. You can normally get about 20 kills coming down this ramp, and each can give between 2 and 6 XP, but it seems to use a system where it gets the level of the monster and gets your level, and if you're a higher level, it starts tailing off the amount of XP that you get from killing things. Which is a fairly standard RPG formula, and it works okay in this. I think it's there to stop you grinding your way up by killing stuff, which is fine. That makes a lot of sense. Just that it's not very well expressed in the game. You're never really sure how much XP you're getting for kills. There is a little in the bottom right. Don't know. There's nothing to really do damage against, but there's a little combat log, and in the combat log occasionally it pops up and says 6 XP awarded for this, 5 XP awarded for this, and that's fine, but it's not visible enough for me. I do tend to turn XP notifications off and stuff if it's a game I know really well, but in this, you just don't notice yourself getting XP at all, really. Except if it's from quests and stuff. So killing, it's difficult to notice, but it works fine, and it tails off as you get to a higher level, I believe. There was a bit of confusion around the community of whether or not it does it by character level versus enemy level, or does it do it by enemy type. Now, an enemy type system, if anybody's you're not maybe familiar with it, there's a maximum amount of XP you can receive for killing each enemy type. If anybody's played, what was that ISO turn-based RPG I played last year? I can't remember. It'll come back to me. But yeah, so basically, there's like maybe you can only get 1,000 XP for killing wolves, and then every time you kill a wolf, you get some XP. But once your 1,000's up, you don't get any XP anymore for killing wolves. Then maybe foxes have different, and bears have a separate XP pool. It's essentially pools for each animal type. I don't believe it is like that. I think it is based on level difference. But with it not being explained particularly well and not being particularly visible, it's difficult to know. For the most part, experience is not something you go out to get in this game. It's a byproduct of exploring and stuff, and doing quests, and it really is just killing and completing quests. You don't get any XP for crafting, you don't get any XP really for exploring. I don't particularly like that. Hidden areas don't really give any XP, not that there's an awful lot of hidden areas. But let's have a look at, I guess, side quests and quests, because they're the main chunks. Side quests don't give a lot. I mean, most of them give between 50 and 200 and 250. That's not a lot of XP from quests. By comparison, if you compare that to The Witcher 3, which is obviously out now, you get a significant chunk more for quests in The Witcher 3. And a little bit less for killing. So in this game, a lot of it does come from killing, and a lot of it comes from major quests, which obviously you'll let you skip a couple of levels at a time. But that is it for the XP system. It's very, very shallow. It's just killing and quests. I did have a note here that says, I think at one point I got given a little bit of XP for persuading somebody in a conversation. But I think that was only one occasion. For the most part, that doesn't happen. So it might have just been a side quest objective getting completed. But XP works fine, but it's not exciting, and it doesn't do a particularly good job of rewarding everything like gathering and exploring and finding hidden abilities and places of power and all the cool stuff that it could reward. It is just quests. It doesn't reward reading books, and for kind of the lore mongers there is no rewards for that. Which I recently, I think, experienced in Deus Ex. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. It's fairly simple. It works just fine. You hit the level cap on a... You don't have to do a completionist's playthrough. You can do a kind of a doing most of it playthrough and hit the level cap of 35 just fine. Now, I don't like this cap. I think it's too low. But I'll get onto that later in another video on the skills. So that's it. I'll put a link somewhere to the next video as soon as it goes live. But if it's not live and there's no link, feel free to sub, and it'll be up probably in about, well, in a day after posting this one. So take it easy. Bye. Boom, boom.